I'm Patrick Beatty with ABC4, and I'm here with one of the most prolific actors who have been in a couple movies maybe you might be familiar with, Indiana Jones, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, John Rhys-Davies. It is a pleasure. So nice to meet you.
Pleasure is mine. Hello.
I wanted to ask first, you've been at FanX a couple times now. What is it about this fan experience, and what is it specifically about Utah that you love so much?
The warmth and the generosity of the people. I'm always made so welcome here that often I was just thinking when I flew in on Monday. I was just thinking, gosh, it felt like coming home. You know, I've been here so often. Obviously, I did something with the Mormon Tabernacle Choir a few years ago. I love the choir. I love the great giant of music in our generation, in our world, really, Mac. And I have so many friends here, and the music is glorious. But this particular show actually comes from the top. You know, Dan Farr likes people. He likes his actors. And of course, we all love the public. And shows like this are far more than just collecting money. They're about people meeting people and making friends. And that I really love.
Well, in your experience with fans, I mean, everybody that meets you knows just how generous you are with your time, with your care to answering any questions that people have. Are there any favorite questions that you've been asked lately through like this round of conventions?
Well, it used to be that the favorite question was from teenage girls. Tell me, John, did you and Orly hang out a lot together? And to which I would end up having to reply, and ladies and gentlemen, or particularly ladies, I do not have Orlando Bloom's personal phone number, but out of sheer malice, if I had it, I would give it to you.
Well, who would want the number of that pointy-eared guy, you know?
Exactly.
What was it like on set with Orlando Bloom? Did you guys discuss a lot about your chemistry between each other, or did it just happen all on set?
Well, between actors, it should happen. If it's in the script, then your job is to enable it and to make it happen. We serve the script. We serve the script, we served the writer, the director, the people who are putting money into the show, and of course, ultimately, the audience. Sometimes you cannot please everybody. But our first duty is to the story, to the script that we've agreed to do. He was such a gifted young actor. And, you know, you would put out something and he would put out something, you'd respond to that. But it was very clearly in the script. The aggression and the hostility right at the beginning, you know, to the friendship and indeed lifelong and deep friendship right at the end.
Well, it's such dynamic chemistry. You feel it just watching. I wanted to ask you kind of a nerdy question because we found out some new information from you about Sliders, and I grew up watching the reruns. I loved them so much. I heard a rumor that back in the 2010s there was going to be a potential reboot. How do you think a new Sliders would fare in a multiverse world that we're in right now?
Well, there are a lot of difficulties to getting the show going again. There's one, the question of ownership. Now, we think we know who owns it, but to convince them that it's worth rebooting the show will take some time. And I think our first thing is to get our sliders together and perhaps do a few fan conventions together. That indeed itself has taken time, but we are now seriously talking. And we might just announce that we're doing 1 or 2 or 3 fan conventions. And if that, then what people do not understand is that the young teenagers and the young 20-year-olds who are watching Sliders when we were doing it are now 20, 30 years older. And we have a different type of audience. audience. And I think if we could satisfy that audience to begin with, and then gradually add younger people to it, as the older ones of us will die off, then they could have a franchise that could go on for a few years. But we have to demonstrate that, and we have to persuade people. And indeed, it might not be possible. So one would then have to look at the legal implications if the four people who were in Sliders went off and did a different show together that involved alternative universes. That might be more legally than broadcasters would want to accept. But we could look at that way as well.
Well, please do. For me personally, another show that you were a part of was Shogun. The new series is out. It's been hitting a ton of awards circuits. Have you seen it yet? And what was your experience like working in Japan?
I haven't seen the new series. I know it's wonderful. I haven't seen it yet. I'm told it's really much told from the Japanese side. But working on Shogun was one of the great experiences of my life. Working in Japan for 5 months on end, and Richard Chamberlain taught me more about professional responsibility than any time that I've ever worked since. And I owe him that, and I love the man to death. I don't think that this new show supersedes the original Shogun. I suspect they probably are very complementary. And I'm so glad for the show, and I'm so glad they've done so well.
I'm so glad that I was able to talk to you, John. Thank you so much. Make sure that you go to his booth, that you do the autographs, the photo booths, everything. It was a pleasure.
Can I say one more thing? There was an absurd rumor going round, apparently, this morning, that I was not going to be doing the meet and greet or the talk that I was doing. I'm here for the weekend. I will do everything I'm told to do, and I love my fans. You take care. Come and see us. You are watching ABC4, and you have my axe.